Now I'm here with author and creative writing teacher Kathryn Heyman. Kathryn, you've written 4 novels, including Captain Starlight's Apprentice and also The Accomplice. And you've also won several awards, the Arts Council of England Writers Award, the Wingate and the Southern Arts Award, and you've been nominated for the Orange Prize, which is no mean feat at all. But we're here today to talk about your work as a creative writing teacher and mentor, and you've just started teaching at the Faber Academy here at Allen Unwin with fellow novelist James Bradley. Can we start by talking about the Faber Academy and about the novel writing course?
Faber Academy began in 2008 or 2007 in Paris at Shakespeare Co bookshop with a course run by Jeanette Winterson and Sarah Hall. And from that short course, which I think was just a week or two, the idea of a really high-level writing course focused on craft and voice rather than the theory of writing grew. And courses have been running since then at Faber in London, 6-month courses. And I think they're on to now their 6th course. So they run usually 2 a year, and of course they've had some great successes. And it's exciting with the course when you've been going long enough to see the alumni come through and start to publish and be successful.
So you've been really instrumental in getting it started here in Sydney.
I think you'd probably have to talk to Faber about that. But certainly I designed the course, and I've certainly been very passionate about it. I really believe in it. I've been desperate for something like this to exist in Sydney for some time. So
why is that?
The little tagline for Faber Academy is learn the craft, find your voice. And I think that combination of real craft skills, as I said, as opposed to the theory or the workshop model of creative writing, or the constraints that you must have in a university context because of accreditation and all of that. So I think that real focus on craft, and then in the process finding your own method and your own voice as a writer, for me is a kind of dream model. That's my approach as a teacher. So being part of a course that has those two things as its sort of core principle feels very aligned with my core principles. Sure. as a teacher of writing and as a mentor.
So how do you go about that process of helping a writer find their voice and draw the voice out? And a lot of writers, particularly beginning writers, are quite frightened of voice.
Absolutely,
sometimes.
Absolutely. Well, it is quite frightening, and they should be. Yes. The process of practical skills is the process by which one actually discovers one's voice. And it's always interesting to me that that this seems very mysterious often to people, that the idea that, well, it's a very common question, can writing be taught, for instance? And that is never a question that is asked in those comparable fields of composition or a choreography or indeed architecture. It's very clear that we need both practical skills and creative skills. So the secondary skills, not secondary in terms of importance, but the skills that run alongside the craft skills are the creative skills. They're the skills which must be modelled rather than taught, because they are by nature about exploration, courage, risk-taking, authenticity, and the way they are taught is, as I said, by modelling and by providing opportunities for their practice and application in a nurturing and safe environment.
I imagine a lot of writers have got dreams of publication, of course, and having Faber tied to Allen Unwin. I mean, are there opportunities for Allen Unwin editors to actually see the work of the students here? Is there a relationship there?
That's a very careful line that must be trod, actually, in terms of ethics. Of course, there is an enormous advantage to being in this environment and having editors come in and give editorial sessions, and Faber Academy publish, in-house a lovely anthology that students then have, and of course the editors see it as well. But actually, one of the great successes of Faber Academy in London, Steve Watson, was not published by Faber. And I think there are a number of reasons for that. One was it's a much more commercial book perhaps than Faber might normally publish. But I think they're also very careful of not wanting to be seen to be the first one to snap up the fantastic talent. So I think it is a very careful line, but of course it is a tremendous advantage to students to also have the input of really skilled, fantastic editors to come and talk to them about what they're looking for and what's required.
Well, just to finish up, what advice would you offer new or aspiring writers?
When I was a young actress, by which I mean waitress, I waited at a function that was a Kennedy Miller party where I met Nicole Kidman, and she was very charming. And I cornered, annoyingly, I was 18, I cornered one of the head screenwriters and said, you know, I want to be a writer, what should I do? The poor man just wanted to go home. And he said, write. And of course, it's facetious, but what a new writer needs to do first and foremost is write. Often aspiring writers are obsessed with the idea of being a writer rather than obsessed with writing. And actually, you have to find the joy in the process. You have to find the discovery and the pleasure in the process of writing, because regardless of your external success or not, it's only the process that will sustain you. Novel writing in particular is a long, lonely journey. I know I've said it before and I will say it again, but it's also a joyous journey. But you have to sustain yourself. Fundamentally, you are the one who cares the most. And if you can make yourself care enough about the life of your novel, then you can make a reader care.
That's terrific advice. Kathryn Heyman, thank you so much for joining us on Shelf Life. Thank you.